tracing the final steps of a 16-year-old victim.
It's troubling. This is a kid that should be getting his driver's license, learning to drive, and instead we're investigating his death.
Homicide detectives ask for tips from the public. An unnerving Uber ride.
I haven't for quite some time.
Okay.
Has a Calgary woman warning others to stay vigilant. And gearing up for the long weekend.
Being able to enjoy family time.
With plenty of options in the city.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Alicia Fieldberg.
Good afternoon. A 16-year-old boy was found dead in Abbeydale early this morning. Police now say his death is a homicide. Jacqueline Wilson joins us from the scene. Jackie, what do we know about the victim?
Yes, Alicia, so we do know that the victim of this homicide is 16-year-old Carter Spivak Villeneuve. He died here on Abergale Drive, but police are trying to piece together what the circumstances were that led up to his death. So right now there is one crime scene still taped off. It is the green space right behind me, and actually there's about 4 or 5 CPS vehicles that are still holding down this crime scene here. And I will say that some of Carter's friends have actually been visiting over the last 45 minutes to an hour. They're obviously inconsolable. They can't believe this has happened, and they've been talking to me about just how they were with him in his final hours and just how much of a nice guy he is. But let's go over last night. So police say about 1:20 a.m. That's when they were called to this area for reports of a person in medical distress. And when those officers arrived, they did find Carter dead. Police had K9 out earlier today searching for clues, and they've also been asking neighbors if anyone had surveillance video in this area. Several houses do have that. They're also asking residents to check their properties for anything suspicious and to share any dash cam or CCTV footage with police. Specifically, they're actually looking for video from midnight until 1:30 a.m. because they believe that Carter was around this area during that time.
We're here for Carter, and so we really are truly asking for people to essentially help us timeline him. What was he into? Who was he talking to? Things like that. So that's what we're looking for the communities to help us figure out and hold and bring some closure to Carter's family.
Now, Alicia, police are saying that if someone does know information about Carter's whereabouts in the hours leading up to his death, they are asked to call the non-emergency line with police, or if they'd rather stay anonymous, they can reach out to Crime Stoppers. Back to you.
Thanks, Jackie. Residents just east of Bowden have been asked to secure their homes while Mounties track a suspect who was trying to light a fire on a rural road. Police helicopters, dogs, and drones have been searching for hours near Highway 587 and Township Road 350 from Range Road 12 and Range Road 14. RCMP found a damaged black Ford Edge reported as stolen and hauled it off as part of the investigation. Mounties don't think the suspect poses an immediate risk to the public, but asks anyone who sees anything suspicious to call 911. A Calgary woman is warning others to stay vigilant when using rideshare after an Uber driver made sexual advances toward her and deviated from her recommended route home.
There you go, yeah.
I haven't for quite some time now.
Okay.
Ukiah Dos Santos was picked up from a nightclub around 2 o'clock in the morning on July 19th from a driver with a 5-star review. The 23-year-old says she became uncomfortable when he asked her to return to the club with him the next night and asked her several times to sit up front with him, which she repeatedly turned down. She says he started making sexual advances toward her, so began a video recording where you can hear the man asking whether she'd had sex that night. Despite being visibly intoxicated, he also insisted on buying her alcohol and going back to her place together, which she declined. Dos Santos said she became scared when the man deviated from her route home.
I immediately felt my heart drop to my stomach, and I was like, where are we going? He was like, the liquor store. And I was like, you know, I just want to go home, please. And I never thought I'd have to say please. Like, it was just a really weird thing for someone to be intoxicated and to almost coerce and take advantage of them. Like, that's disgusting.
Dos Santos reported the encounter to Uber, which banned the driver from the app, writing in a statement, "This behavior is unacceptable and has no place on the Uber platform." Calgary police investigated and no charges were laid. However, the City of Calgary has revoked the driver's rideshare license. 2 vehicles were nearly swallowed by a sinkhole in Leduc. It opened up in a parking lot at the McEwen Greens apartment building. 2 vehicles partially fell into the hole and have since been pulled out. The sinkhole is now taped off until it can be repaired. Nobody was injured. A 6-story apartment building is being craned into place downtown as an attainable homes project enters the final stretch. Construction began in mid-April at the AGCO Calgary facility. 84 prefabricated modular homes are part of this development, which should be complete in a couple of weeks. Residents are expected to start moving in January 1st. Appliances, wall finishes, windows, mechanical and electrical are already in place as each unit gets lifted into place.
Each box has 2 units in it as it's craned in. So there's actually 56 boxes here, and what we'll do is we'll deliver 2 units per box, and then we'll have some other smaller boxes that will be items like stairwells, so we can have access points, and then we'll bring in elevator shafts and everything that a traditional building would have.
This is one of 7 non-profit affordable housing projects the City of Calgary has announced to combat the housing crisis. The long weekend is here and there are activities galore happening throughout the city. Tyler Barrow joins us live from the Blues Festival at the Confluence. Tyler, what's going on this weekend?
Alicia, the first performance at the Blues Festival is set to get underway in just a few minutes. Now, shows here run on the outdoor stage until 9:30 and kick off Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. Now, of course, this is just one of the many events happening in the city over the August long weekend. For foodies, Taste of Calgary is where you will want to head. People attending can choose cuisine from around the world as there are over 90 restaurants, food trucks, brewers, and distillers on site. Flipping from food to the Fringe Festival, that kicks off tonight and runs until next Saturday at 3 different locations in Inglewood. It brings together emerging and established artists alike to tell their stories on stage. Here at the Blues Festival, organizers are expecting upwards of 15,000 people over the 4 days, weather dependent, for the upbeat event.
It's the music of the people. It's their voice. It's very relatable, strong storytelling, mainly original music, lots of really great songwriting. So it's a very comfortable, relaxed, non-pretentious dance.
Now, the Taste of Calgary Fringe and Blues Festival are just a few of the events happening in our city. If you're looking for more to do, head to our website. Alicia?
Thanks, Tyler. All right, Gina, so lots to do outside and inside, which is good because I guess there's kind of a mix of weather as well.
There's so much pressure on the forecast for this weekend, I will say, and it is quite variable over the next couple of days here. Tonight's setting up to be really nice out there. We're seeing a lot of sunshine right now. A little bit of clouds. Those have started to build throughout the day, but nothing very threatening when it comes to clouds. 26 degrees currently. That is our high for today, but lots going on our watches and warnings map. Nothing directly impacting Calgary, but near us we have heat warnings. To the west of us, we've got watches and warnings in place for thunderstorms, and later today we could see potentially some of that convection inch its way towards Calgary, Lethbridge, just a little bit farther away from the foothills there, but it's a pretty low risk right now. When we look at your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavvw.com. You can see by tomorrow, Alicia, that storm risk continues into the evening. We'll have your full long weekend forecast coming up.
Thanks, Gina. Tabor corn is now available in Calgary. Producers say the crop is looking good despite a slower than expected harvest. Tabor corn is known for its sweetness and quality due to the perfect growing conditions. Now, to ensure you're getting the real deal, make sure that you ask the vendor to show you a certificate of authenticity. It should contain the Tabor Farm's name and phone number. Well, this month will mark 1 year since Johnny Gaudreau and his brother were killed by an alleged drunk driver. A recent event is helping preserve their legacy in the community. And some local athletes are set to represent Canada on the water. Some of Calgary's top young sailors will be facing off with the best in Canada in their most challenging environment yet. The Calgary Yacht Club members will represent Alberta at the Canada Games in Newfoundland. The athletes are all under the age of 21 and will compete over 5 days in a series of races on the open water of the Atlantic Ocean. They're ready for a tough competition.
We got some opportunities just a few weeks ago to sail on a bigger lake where we had more waves, which is going to be fun because on the ocean, waves can build a lot more and we're going to have to deal with current, which is not something we get here in Chestermere.
BC and Ontario teams in sailing are very strong, as well as Quebec and Nova Scotia. So I must say, we will be underdogs here.
The competition runs from August 11th to the 16th. A fundraising run in memory of Johnny and Nat Gaudreau has raised more than $500,000. Over 2,200 people participated virtually or in person in the 5K run, which took place in New Jersey in May. It's been nearly a year since the Gaudreau brothers were killed by an alleged drunk driver. The fundraising money is going towards an accessible playground, which will be built at the special education school where Johnny's mother, Jane, has worked for over 40 years. All right, Gina, you talked about the pressure for this weekend. The good news, though, is even though we are likely to see some precipitation, probably not that sustained rain that we saw over days in the past here.
Yeah, certainly tonight and for a bulk of Saturday afternoon, it's actually looking quite nice out there. It's really when we get into the back half of the long weekend where we start to see that increased possibility of more clouds and more scattered showers. We've got a nice shot out with your Sky Watch weather camera right now. Some of those puffy clouds that have moved in from over the foothills, but otherwise really nice abundance of blue sky. We have temperatures right now in the mid to high 20s, 26 at the airport, 28 downtown, and then 27 if you're joining us over in Strathmore. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. Temperatures for the southern part of the province right now, a little bit of a cool down in Pincher Creek at 18 currently. Bit of an anomaly though. Look at Drumheller at 30 degrees. In central Alberta, we're seeing very similar temperature values to what we're experiencing here in the mid to high 20s. For tomorrow, temperatures start to moderate a little bit closer towards normal. Just look what's going on right now in our watches and warnings map, though. We've got heat warnings, severe thunderstorm watches and warnings to the west of us as well. So let's get a little closer and analyze what's going on the radar satellite here. A lot of that convection over the foothills. Will it move into Calgary is the big question. Lethbridge likely could see some storms later this evening. Calgary, though, is a little bit of a iffy situation. I'm keeping an eye on how these clouds are just exploding off of the foothills there. So that could track into Calgary later tonight, keeping the risk pretty low right now, though. Here's a look at tomorrow, though, where we are in that minor risk category for storms that could carry 70-kilometer-an-hour winds. Rainfall, localized amounts of 25 millimeters. Hail could be around 2 centimeters in diameter at most. And then when we play this out in our futurecast, you can see tomorrow morning, mix of sun and cloud. The convection really doesn't start to ramp up until we get into the evening. So it's right around 9:30 that I'm seeing the most severe cell in the Calgary area. Dissipates pretty quickly, though, but it's more cloud and rain as we head into Sunday and the holiday Monday there. Temperatures, though, don't fluctuate too much. Pretty much within the seasonal range throughout the entire long weekend, so we'll take that as a win. It's just that instability that's really going to be the thing we're monitoring over the next several days here. That thunderstorm risk, I've just basically laid it out for the next 5 days, but again, you get some sunshine tomorrow. It's those evening thunderstorms right around 6 p.m. to about 10 p.m. that we'll likely see them move into Calgary, if at all, and then more sustained scattered showers for Sunday and Monday.
Health Canada has approved a new drug to treat multiple myeloma. It takes a novel approach in attacking the cancer and offers more options for patients. Pauline Chan has the details.
When Mary Antuomi was admitted to hospital during the pandemic with severe back pain, she was quickly tested for multiple myeloma. But she says some patients can go years without a correct diagnosis, so she credits Myeloma Canada with increasing awareness.
Information for doctors that when patients present themselves with back pain, long-term back pain, that to check for a protein in the blood that could be an indicator.
It's solely adults that are affected by myeloma, not children. And it does tend to be older adults.
Multiple myeloma is a cancer of the plasma cells. Marianne underwent an autologous stem cell transplant in 2021, but that doesn't get rid of 100% of the cancer.
It's like you have a big field of dandelions. And what the treatment does, it takes the field and it gives a weeding of all the dandelions. But there's still a few.
That's why new medications like Blenrep are so important.
So the drug both activates the patient's immune system against the cancer cell, also delivers the drug that helps kill this particular malignant cell. So it's a relatively novel mechanism in multiple myeloma.
Health Canada has just approved its use in combination with one of 2 other drugs. There are currently several thousand patients living with multiple myeloma in Canada, but with new drugs to improve survival, the hope is that number will grow. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The health of Alberta water systems downstream of coal mines has been studied. The provincial government put its scientists on the job, and they think changes are needed. It's been a rocky day on the markets following the announcement of more U.S. tariffs. Joining me is Liana Washniak, investment advisor with the Popowinch-Carmeli Advisory Group. So, Liana, what happened in the markets today?
Well, we saw the weekend on a negative note in both the Canadian and the U.S. markets. And as you mentioned, tariffs was one of the reasons behind that. Of course, the U.S. now applying tariffs of 35% to Canadian goods as well as to a number of other countries across the globe, having not had deals created in time for that August 1st deadline that they had initially set on their Liberation Day tariff announcement. But also, we saw a couple other factors play into the markets today, one of which being Amazon. They missed earnings expectations, particularly in their area of cloud computing services, where it seems to be they're falling behind a little bit, either in profit margins or in uptake on their cloud computing versus their competitors. Because they're such a large capitalization company, the drop in 8% that we saw in their share prices today weighed fairly heavily on the U.S. markets. And also, we saw some jobs data that was somewhat less than favorable.
Yeah, that U.S. jobs data showing slower growth than expected.
That's right. It's the slower growth number that was a fairly large miss by what economists were expecting. Economists were predicting to see about 110,000 new jobs created in the month of July. The number that actually came back was about 73,000, with unemployment ticking up to 4.2% versus 4.1%. However, the most important part of this jobs data was the revision downward of both the May and June numbers. In fact, that revision was so steep that President Trump called this afternoon for the firing of the Director of Bureau of Labor Statistics, calling this was a political move, that this revision was such a sharp one, and it made the jobs market look worse than it actually did. That also played into the negative sentiment in the market today.
Yeah, tough day. Need a long weekend. Have a good long weekend, Liana. Thanks.
You too.
Alberta's regulations for cleaning up old coal mines are failing to keep pollutants out of water ecosystems, according to a new study by the province's own scientists. The peer-reviewed study looks at contamination levels in water near 3 inactive coal mines east of Jasper National Park. Researchers found high levels of selenium and other pollutants downstream. One of the authors, a former government scientist in charge of environmental monitoring, says the paper speaks to what he calls regulatory inaction by the province. And Alberta is considering getting rid of marked fuel, also known as purple gas, and replacing it with a different discount. Alberta farmers, oil and gas, and forestry workers can get certificates to use the cheaper fuel, which is dyed purple so officials can trace it. Some retailers have suggested giving the 4-cent tax exemption on clear fuel instead. The province is asking for feedback until the end of August. A teenager is found dead in Abbeydale. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Alicia. Around 1:30 this morning, police were called to the Northeast community. When officers arrived, they found the body of a 16-year-old boy. Coming up at 6, while we're learning about the victim, we will also have the latest on the police investigation, plus reaction from residents. Also ahead, new U.S. tariffs are in effect for Canada now. Goods not compliant with CUSMA now face a 35% tax. Coming up, what Alberta's premier has to say about it. Alicia.
Thanks, Tara. Big Valley Jamboree in Camrose is underway for another year. Organizers say the Country Music Festival has a much higher attendance compared to when it started 32 years ago. Some of country's biggest names and up-and-coming artists will perform this weekend. Headliners include Blake Shelton, Jason Aldean, and Bailey Zimmerman. Canadian band James Barker Band take the stage on Saturday.
People are just like in it for the whole weekend. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're going to a concert for one night and then they're going back. They're like, no, we are here to party and have a good time for 3 days straight, maybe longer. And just looking forward to that, being back and being a part of that.
Big Valley Jamboree runs until Sunday. Tickets are still available, and what a lovely night it will be to check that out or any of the other outdoor events going on. Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 26 degrees. Gina will be back with the rest of the weather details after the break. Gina, it's a gorgeous summer night in Calgary, but maybe not so much for our camping friends out near the mountains.
Yeah, a lot of convective activity out there right now, and the question is, will it move into Calgary tonight? As it stands, it's a pretty low risk of that happening. We have a gorgeous 26 degrees out there right now, within that seasonal temperature range, but here is a look at the radar satellite for you. So you do see those pretty strong thunderstorm cells along the Rockies there, and the clouds expanding towards Cochrane and Calgary, but you're not really seeing the movement from those storms tracking this way. So again, low risk for now, and certainly a different story as we get into Saturday, Sunday, and that holiday Monday, where that thunderstorm risk is more prevalent, especially on Saturday, seeing it at around 9 o'clock, tracking into the city, and then those temperatures start to cool off and moderate a bit more on Sunday and Monday, Alicia.
Thanks, Gina. Thousands of dog owners and pooch lovers are heading to Okotoks this weekend for a massive canine display. This is the Alberta Kennel Club's Summer Classic Dog Show. It's one of Canada's largest outdoor dog shows. It's the Classic's first time welcoming spectators since leaving Spruce Meadows 2 years ago. And it'll be a busy return. Organizers expect up to 800 dogs a day and 1,200 human spectators. The pups will compete in events like agility, obedience, scent detection, and best in show.
I think the spectators just like coming to see, they want to see all the different breeds. Like lots of times they've never been able to see half these breeds that they would never see on the street. So they come for that. I think they also like to come and like to say to watch the agility and watch the obedience stuff. People just love dogs.
The dog show runs until Monday evening. For more information, you can visit our website, ctvnews.ca/Calgary. Thanks for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.